It's your boy TD, and I'm back again with another live, guys. And today's live is going to be on five league winners for your Week 16 playoff run. Now, listen, guys, I didn't want to do an early waiver wire video because I wanted to get to some of the guys that I think is going to be booming, and that's very important for you. Hold on, I'm sorry. Early waiver wire video, because I believe some of these guys are going to help you win your fantasy football championship, and these are some boom guys that you should be feeling comfortable. Now, listen, some of these guys are obvious. Some of these guys are kind of like sleeper league winners, but either way, it's going to help you guys. So make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. This is cutting edge content. Also, guys, I got a guest, my homeboy, the original Big Mac. What's up, bro?
What it do, baby? What's going down? The playoffs is here.
Bro.
Yes, sir.
You want to shoot out? You want to shoot out anything, bro?
Yeah, well, the people, they can find me, of course, at thefantasyheadlines.com, and then also on my Twitter or X, whatever they call it these days, is at Mac Galloway Mac Galloway 34.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's my joint on
yes,
Twitter.
Sir. So yeah, guys, he's part of Fantasy Headliners, amazing channel, one of the biggest fantasy football channels in the world. So go check them out. It's Fantasy Headliners. So, anything you want to talk about before we get started, Matt? How the games went? Anything, any particular player? Anything you want to talk about before we get started?
Man, well, we talked a little earlier today, man. It's one of the guys that you was on early in the week, and he had a tremendous game. Him and his homeboy from another team, and they linked up again. That was just an amazing display. Lamar, another amazing display. All in all, man, it was a good day yesterday. I think everybody was probably pretty pleased, especially if they had a lot of the guys that you've talked about throughout the year on their squad. Man, they should be looking pretty good right now.
Agreed. Okay. So yeah, I mean, me, man, I just saw the fourth quadrant happen. I saw a lot of players that nobody really had on their team early in the season or was trusting, and some of these guys had tremendous games that was out on the waiver wire on like week 6 or week 7 that you could have picked up. So I saw a lot of fourth quadrant league winners.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was a huge difference from compared to some of the quote unquote consensus guys from beginning of the season to now. To your point, like you always talk about the fourth quadrant, man, you're gonna find guys that pretty much are league winners, and I think we got a few of them on both our lists too.
Right. Facts. Okay, so man, you the guest, bro. I'm gonna ask you to go first, man. Who's our first league winner for the fantasy football playoffs going into week 16?
So this one is kind of obvious, kind of like you said. A few of these guys are going to be people that pretty much, 90% of the people out here should have on their team. But going forward, the next couple of games at the quarterback position is Lamar Jackson. I think if you're blessed and lucky enough to have him on your squad, because he's got a great matchup coming up this week with my Steelers. And in spite of how we, game plan for him being the Steelers, I think Lamar's still going to have an exceptional game. Even at his floor, he's going to give you 20 plus 25 points. And that's really all you need at the quarterback position. But going after that in the championship, man, he could go bananas just like he did this past week. So Lamar Jackson is the guy that I'm looking at. And another thing is because him and Josh Allen, they're neck and neck. Well, I say neck and neck. A lot of people are saying that Josh is the favorite. I don't agree with that, and I don't know if you want to expound on that or not. I got an issue with that for multiple reasons. Now,
go ahead, bro. Go into it.
All right. So, in my opinion, Josh is doing great. Phenomenal player, right? You can attest to this. I was one of the first ones when Josh first came out. I said, looking at his tape and everything, coming into his rookie season, that he was going to be exceptional. He had all the tools.
Right.
And he's proven that throughout the years. However, if you look at every statistic and every number compared to him and Lamar this year, it's not even, I ain't gonna say it's not close, but Lamar is beating him. Lamar's only had 3 interceptions this year. And if you go back and look at those 3 interceptions, they were all tipped balls. Pause. It wasn't. Yeah, right. No Diddy, I should say. Um, it was none of those were his fault. So he could technically actually have a higher quarterback QBR than what he has right now, along with the touchdowns and the yards. So he's beaten Josh Allen in every statistical stat. But the media and the powers that be are saying that Josh Allen is head and shoulders above Lamar, and I just don't get where they coming from with that. Yes, the record might reflect certain things, but if you go back and look at the teams that they played outside of KC, and then like I said, they had a great game against Detroit. I can't take nothing away from that,
Right.
but I still can't say that that's the reason why Josh Allen should win the MVP over Lamar, in my opinion. What you
Right.
think?
So I agree 100%. I think Lamar right now. Well, I actually this is what I say. I think it's a tie, and let me tell you why I think it's a tie. Because Josh Allen has been playing well, and he hasn't been turning the ball over like he did in the past.
Right.
So I will say it's a tie. But the reason why people are trying to put Josh over Lamar is recency bias. It's kind of like I always tell you about Kobe. Why did they
Mm-hmm.
give um, Steve Nash the MVP over Kobe when Kobe had 81 and he led the league in scoring?
Right. Agreed.
It was because it was new for Steve Nash to win it. It was a white point guard that we never saw coming, and he's going to win the MVP. Josh
Yeah.
Allen. Now, it's not about a race thing, but it's like, oh, Josh Allen, he's new. Oh, we're
Mm-hmm.
going to give him the MVP. That's
Right.
why. So Lamar is going to have to stomp on Josh Allen in order to win this MVP. And guess what? He knows that. And that's why I'm gonna go ahead and tell you this before I get into my quarterback streamer. Um, I I'm not telling you to sit Derrick Henry, but it's over for
Mm-hmm.
Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
It's over
Yeah.
for his fantasy purposes.
Agreed.
Lamar is
Right.
not gonna let that man get no 3 yard touchdown. Lamar is gonna
Mm.
get now after Lamar get his 4 or 5, then anybody else can get theirs.
Right. Agreed.
So that's what's going on, man. And I think we just gonna have to play it out. I know you think Lamar is the head, and I would tend to agree with that, but I want to see it play out, man. I think this is gonna be the best MVP chase that we ever saw in the history of the NFL.
I mean, you're probably right. Really, if you look at it from a quarterback standpoint, this is the best two that we've seen in quite some time outside of what when Peyton was um, who was it? Was it him and Steve Young at one point?
Uh,
Uh,
Peyton when it with Peyton, it was Tom Brady and Peyton and Philip
yes,
Rivers. Those 3 guys.
right, right. So if you look at those three, yeah, everybody want to say what they say about Tom, yeah, and that's a whole nother subject. We don't want to get into that. But from a standpoint of talent, just overall uber talent, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, this is probably the best race we've seen in years,
Right.
almost
Facts.
maybe ever. You know what I'm
Ever. I
saying?
think it's ever.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Okay, so guys, my quarterback league winner is going to be Aaron Rodgers from the New York Jets. And you can get this guy off waivers. He's probably still on some of your waivers because nobody probably streamed him last week. Now, the reason why I'm on Aaron Rodgers is because of his mindset. And that's what I think I have a niche in fantasy football is I can look outside the box and not just look at the stats and what the data says. So the stats and data told you that Aaron Rodgers is old and he shouldn't be played in fantasy, and he just like this offense is terrible. But I know Aaron Rodgers when he has a guy like Devontae Adams that he trusts. Aaron Rodgers is
Mm,
always trying to prove a point. So I knew this week. I said, "Oh, they had a pretty good game a couple weeks ago. I think Aaron Rodgers is about to go out here and try to show people that I can still play and I can still win a championship." And he did it.
yeah,
He
he
did it.
did.
He went
He
crazy.
did.
So Aaron Rodgers, I guys, I'm putting him. And let me read out a couple quarterbacks real quick. I'm playing him over Pat Mahomes. I'm
Mm-hmm.
playing him over Justin Herbert. I'm playing him over Bo Nix. I'm playing him over C.J. Stroud. I'm playing him over Russell Wilson. I'm playing him over Jameis. I'm playing him over Tua. I'm playing him over Cooper Rush. Um, who else? I'm playing him over Baker Mayfield. I said what I said. I'm playing him over Baker Mayfield.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I'm playing him over Geno. And I'm playing him. It's kind of close between him and Matthew Stafford. So
Yeah,
he's my
yeah.
top five quarterback. He was top five. And Matt, tell him how I came to you early last week and talked about this.
Oh yeah, yeah. You was on it. You was on it early last week. We were discussing a lot of players, and you said that you said you could see the trajectory that you could see not only the team but Aaron Rodgers specifically, and how his play was going to put him, in that conversation, and that's what's been going on. And to your point, man, yeah, I agree with you. I think these next two games, this week and next week, because most people we don't play week 18, but
Right,
these
facts.
next 2 weeks, I think he's on a mission. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
He's to your point. He's trying to prove to people like, yo, I can still ball. A
right.
lot of these, people out here in the media and some of those guys on ESPN are talking stuff and all of this. Yeah, Aaron, you can say what you want to say about Aaron. You know how I feel about him. I respect his play. I might have some issues with his personality and stuff like that. But sometimes that personality, a player like that, it causes them to like, okay, I'm gonna show you. I can show you better than I can tell you,
Come on
and
now.
that's what Aaron Rodgers is. So I agree with you 100%, man. Yeah.
Right. And I just felt like that Devontae could have 150 plus yards and Garrett Wilson could have 150 plus. Now it wasn't quite like that. Devontae had a little bit more than that, but I
Hmm.
wasn't surprised with the game Devontae was having. When I started seeing, I'm like, money, let's go, let's go.
That's it.
So,
That's it. And they hadn't really had time to. They
the
don't need a lot
jail
of.
like that.
There you go.
Right.
Right. So those two don't really need time to jail, but within the parameters of that team, when you
Come
got
on now.
Garrett Wilson, you got all these other components. They need to find their niche along with those, and they got it now. So yeah, it's
Right.
gonna be trouble.
Right. Okay, Mac, let's go on to your running back. Your
Okay.
league winner of running back.
All right. So my lead winner running back is gonna be James Conner. Now again, like some of these people,
I like that.
but I love James Conner going forward, especially these next two games. You got Carolina this week, and then you got the Rams week 17. Both of these teams can be ran upon. You know what I'm saying? And they
Right.
have been leaning on James Conner. Plus, he got the bag. He got the bag. It might not be a huge bag, but in comparison to running backs, that's what he was looking for. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? A 2-year deal, and that's what he got. So they showed, hey, we're gonna put our money where our mouth is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he is the focal point of this offense. Whatever the situation is between Kyler and Marvin, that's a whole nother subject. But one thing you can count, two things actually. You can count on Trey McBride showing up, and you can count on James Conner. And James Conner going forward, like I said, man, is a smash hit. So I
That's
really like James
right.
Conner.
That's the only way they can win games. They can't win it off of Kyler's back. They got to win it off of
No,
James Conner back. Pause.
agreed, agreed.
Yeah. All right. Um. So yes, let's go to my running back. So my running back league winner is going to be Isaac Guerrero from the San Francisco 49ers. Guys,
I
when I
like
watched
it.
that rain crazy game, I was excited for Isaac Guerrero. I'm like, okay, he's coming off what we thought was a foot injury, and they still giving him the workload, and he's catching passes. Guys, this is an
Right.
automatic league winner. He's playing on the San Francisco football team with Kyle Shanahan. You know, running backs and Kyle Shanahan, they gel together. Kyle Shanahan
Absolutely.
has he ever coached a bad running back on his team?
No, not that I can think of. You
He's
can't even go
always had a
back.
top 12 running back his whole career.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. That's
So
his forte.
that's his forte. So with Isaac
Mm.
Guerrero being on that staff, man, I'm not worried about anybody else. I spent a lot of money on Taylor, but I did that too for an insurance policy. And the insurance policy is okay. Guerrero is still living, right?
Yeah, right,
Guerrero is
right.
still living, so the insurance policy is okay. So, guys, Isaac Guerrero is the league winner. Play him. Is no questions asked. Don't should
Yeah.
I play him over this guy? You got to make room for your team for these type of league winners. You can't always go
Mm.
to the Joe Mixon. And I'm starting Isaac Guerrero over Joe Mixon. Yes, I am doing it. I know Matt do not agree with me on that, but I'm starting Isaac Guerrero over Joe Mixon. What?
Well, mhm.
Expand on that, Matt.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, no. So you're right, but it ain't that far off as you think.
Okay.
I'm a huge Joe Mixon fan, but
Right.
all those points you just made, I agree with you. Sometimes when you got a player that's an exceptional talent, then you plug him in with a system that's proven and it works. It's almost like a triangle offense.
Come
You
on.
you can run the triangle many different teams in basketball as long as you got the pieces, to fit that particular offense, right?
Right.
And to
Right.
your point, Shanahan, that's what he does. So Garindo, yeah, I like the volume that he's going to get. I like his upside. Um, yeah. So if I had to choose between him and Joe Mixon, I would still go Joe, but it will be very close.
Right. Right. All right, Mac. I guess we can do our wide receivers next. Go ahead. What is your league win on wide receiver?
All right. So my league win wide receiver is Terry McLaurin.
Mm.
And the reason being, well, besides the obvious, he's shown a stretch of what, about 7 games now. But especially the past like 4 games, you can see the cohesiveness and the comfortableness that him and Jaden Daniels have with each other. Or I should say more so Jaden Daniels trusts Terry McLaurin.
Right.
There's no question about what Jaden can do with his arm or his accuracy in my book, but he's been putting them in windows that you pretty much got to trust that receiver to come down with that ball. And he's been just throwing it up there, man. And Terry's been showing up every week.
Right.
He's been averaging about 19 points a game. That's a floor. So
Right.
going forward, man, I really like McLaurin, and I like the upside that he brings with that offense.
Right. I agree, man. Once I saw Jaden Daniels week 3, I was like, Terry McLaurin is a league winner because I knew Jaden Daniels could handle a number one wide receiver. So I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
man. So I got Terry. I had Terry McLaurin in a couple of redraft leagues. I traded him one league for Marvin Harrison Jr. Would never do that again. It is what it is. I thought Marvin Harrison would be a little bit better in the fourth quadrant. It makes sense for him to be better right now than how he's
Yeah.
playing. It doesn't make sense. But anyway, Terry McLaurin is killing it. I think he is a league winner. He's actually a top 3 wide receiver, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And he could, like I said, these next few games, man, the sky's the limit. I don't know exactly what his numbers are TD wise, um, but I really like the way he's playing, and like I said, within that offense, yeah, he could be big. He's
Right.
always had the talent, but he's just never been given the trust. Ron Rivera didn't really trust him like that.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. We got Tron Four says Terry McLaurin could have had 5 TDs yesterday. They missed on 3 of them. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, he right.
Um. Okay, so let's go to my wide receiver. My wide receiver league winner is going to be Brian Thomas Jr. Y'all know I was going to Brian Thomas Jr. because I had to pat, what they call it, pat myself on the back,
Mm-hmm.
take a victory lap. Yes, I'm doing it for Brian
Mm-hmm.
Thomas Jr. Now, Matt, I love you. I'm gonna call you out. We had a debate with Brian Thomas Jr. and
Yeah,
who was it? Malik Neighbors.
Malik Neighbors. Yeah, yep,
Yeah. So I took
yep.
that bet with you. I also took a bet with Harambe,
Mm-hmm.
with Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison. The same bet that me and you made that Trey McBride would out target Marvin Harrison Jr.
Right,
So
right.
those are a few victories that I've had. But Brian Thomas Jr. The reason why, guys, I was on this guy, and I'm giving y'all the gas right now. I'm like, this guy's 6'2", 6'3", runs a 4.3, and to me, you couldn't bump him at the line of scrimmage. So to me, I'm like, these other wide receivers, they not as physical as him. So
Mm-hmm.
they gonna get handled a little bit at the line of scrimmage between these corners. But there ain't no corner in the league right now because there's no Richard Sherman out there, there's no Darrell Reeves who can bump Brian Thomas and knock him off his route.
Nobody. There's. I would be a little biased to say Joey Porter. He's probably the most physical cornerback in the league right now. I mean, him and AJ was going at it yesterday. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
But yeah, to your point, there's nobody on the physical level of, like you said, a Richard Sherman and somebody like that can attack him at the point of attack. Like at the line of scrimmage. And, so I agree with you, man. No, he's an exceptional talent.
Right, right. And so guys, I think this guy should be drafted no later than the second round next year. I wouldn't think it would be a bad pick to take him at the turn, at the 1-2 turn. I actually would believe that. But yes, I love Brian Thomas Jr. guys, league winner, start him every week. No more starts and six questions for Brian Thomas. You got to get him in your line.
Absolutely. Agreed.
Okay, Mac, you can go to your tight end guy. Who's your tight end league winner?
Okay. And again, this one may be pretty obvious, but this is a guy, and TD can be a witness to this. I talked about him during the draft process. I loved his tape, and I knew once he got, I didn't think he was going to get drafted where he got drafted, but once he got drafted there, I understood what they were going to try to do with him, and they're doing it now. And that's Brock Bowers. Brock
Yes, you was
Bowers,
on.
thank you. That dude might actually sneak into the late first round, early second round next year because he's putting up those type of boom numbers that a Travis Kelsey used to give us on a week in, week out basis. So if they end up getting a quarterback, you know what I'm saying? Let's say a Shador or somebody like that, somebody that's going to be able to get the ball out and distribute it at a proficient level. Brock Bowers' numbers is going to even be better than what it is right now.
Facts.
So, but again, going to this season, he's really the only show in town, in Vegas. That's the
Right.
guy. Once Devontae left, he is the guy that they trust in the passing game, and he's going to get uber targeted. So Brock Bowers, especially if you're in a league that's a tight end premium,
Woo.
man, he definitely going to be a league winner.
Yeah, so I like Brock Bowers when I first saw him as a freshman at Georgia, but I didn't think he was gonna come into the NFL and be getting 12 or 13 targets a game. But he went to the Raiders. Any other teams might not have targeted him like that, but he still would have been good. Believe that he still would have been good, but they wouldn't have uber target him. But yeah, man. If you in tight end premium, I think he's a first round pick.
Yeah,
If you in
agreed.
tight end premium
100%.
for next year. Okay. All right, my tight end, y'all know it was the guy that I'm gonna take another victory lap on from last week. And this guy's his father is from Mac's hometown.
Mm-hmm.
This guy
Yes,
is
indeed.
Britton Strange. Now listen, I drafted Britton Strange like 2 years ago, and he was taken in the second round. So I'm like, okay, I gotta draft him because his draft capital is there. And then I dropped him in some leagues, man, because he didn't get no burn. It was Evan Ingram there. Now, when Evan Ingram went down earlier this year, I seen Britton Strange on the bench, and he had like 6 or 7 targets. I'm like, okay, this guy is good. He's okay. He's a good streamable tight end when Evan Ingram is out. So when Evan Ingram went out, I thought he would get about 6 catches for about 40 yards. That'll give you about 10 points. You good. Well, this
Mm-hmm.
dude got like 13 targets.
Yep. Hmm.
So with Matt Jones, who can't really push the ball downfield like that, he's gonna uber target
Right.
Britton Strange, and Britton Strange is gonna be maybe this year's Jawan Johnson, or I won't put him on David Njoku level, but I say
Mm-hmm.
he'll be on like the Jawan Johnson type, where Jawan Johnson was the number 1 tight end or number 2 tight end in fantasy football playoffs last year, and I think Britton Strange for
Right.
the rest of the season is going to be a top 5 tight end at least as a floor.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like you said, with Mac Jones now being the QB, to finish out the season, yeah, Strange is a perfect safety net, safety valve for him. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So yeah, I like that most definitely.
Okay. So who your your flex, right, Matt?
Yeah, right. So my flex guy is Jerome Ford.
Mm.
And we talked about this guy early in the season, and I think we might have had a conversation about him last week. But I know on the headliner on my headline on the headliner channel, I do a segment where it's like hidden gems for the week, something like that, right? And
Right.
he was a guy that I talked about last week because I saw the transition. What they were. This is even before Chubb got hurt. I saw
Right.
what they were doing in the offense because it was a lot of indications, man, when I was watching film and watching the tape of their team, all 22 and stuff. I could see Nick Chubb he wasn't never quite the same. And I'm
Right.
not saying that he's done. or
Right.
anything like that, going forward even next year. But you could tell he was a lot slower. He didn't have that burst and everything that we are used to or accustomed to Nick Chubb having. So I saw them splitting, the workload. It started
Right.
out as like 70-30, but then Jerome Ford was getting all the passing work,
Right.
even more so on like first and second downs. So now that Chubb is out for the season, Jerome Ford, man, next two games, I think they got Cincy and Miami. Both of those are smash hits when it comes to Jameis or whoever is the quarterback dumping it off. You know what I'm saying? Because they're
Right.
always going to be in the game script where they got to pass the rock.
Right. Right. I love the Jerome Ford. That's actually my number one waiver claim right now before I actually go and do a little bit more research. So I could have done that video, but it's not that many people on the waiver. So I want to do league winners. I think this video is going to help y'all feel reassured. Okay, I got Brian Thomas. I'm not playing any matchups with him. I'm starting him. I got um let's see who's another guy that's kind of on it. Let's say Lamar Jackson. You got Lamar Jackson. Hey, start. I know you're going to start him, but feel great about that you picked the right guy. And I actually want to
Mm.
make segue into this before I give out my flex guy. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and give you a little Easter egg here. Draft your quarterbacks in the first and second round next year. And it's 4 guys that you should be doing that with. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, help me out, Matt. Joe Burrow,
Burrow, yep.
and who's the
Uh,
fourth one?
so this is maybe a little edgy, but I would almost put Jaden Daniels in
Jaden
that
Daniels. There you
conversation.
go. There you go. Jaden Daniels.
Yeah,
Those guys need to be. Guys, the league has changed. So 7 or 8 years ago in the NBA, every point guard wasn't the same. They wasn't like dropping 7 or 8 assists. Now every point guard on every single team is good. They can all dribble and pass and shoot the rock. So
hmm
on teams now, all quarterbacks can throw the ball and they can run. And so the offense is being played through the point guards in the NBA, and the offense is being played through the quarterbacks in the NFL. So you got to get these guys because you see Josh Allen, like James Cook, who I'm getting that ball. Derrick Henry,
right.
who I'm running that ball in. Now Joe Burrow, he's the type where he's a tandem guy, but he's going to force
hmm
feed Jamar Chase 15 targets a game.
Yep.
So those are special traits, and you have to get these guys early. If not, you're gonna be trying to be cheering for Trevor Lawrence. Let's go, Trevor! Don't let me down this week.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Exactly.
Lamar ain't let me down all year long.
Yeah. Hey, listen, man. We talked about this. Hey, before I get on that, hey, all due respect, everybody out there in the chat. Looks like we got 35 in here and got 21 likes. Come on, y'all. Just hit the thumbs up, man. Get
Yes,
this out in the
sir.
algorithms. Help my boy out. Like I said, he's giving y'all the gas every week. And like I said, he know when I say stuff, I'm not blowing no smoke. I'm keeping it a buck. My man know what he talking about. So man, y'all support. Hit the like and comment. All right. So like I said, me and you talked about this. And a long time ago, that was the norm, or you
Mm,
saw more people going with first round quarterbacks, with your Peyton Mannings, your Aaron Rodgers, and stuff like that, because they were truly league winners. I agree with you 100%. The only thing, and I think me and you talked about this off camera and stuff, again, it's going to take people, some of the novice or even some skilled players, they're going to have to come to content creators like yourself
mm-hmm.
so they can be helped in that process. Because
Yes.
if you pick a quarterback in the first round, you got to make sure that you follow accordingly and get the right players, because you can mess your whole draft up if you don't get the right following players, if you get what I'm
Facts.
saying.
Facts.
So, but I agree with you 100%. The game is changing, and these guys, especially these dual threat quarterbacks, are league winners. Definite.
Right. Okay. So my flex guy that I believe is going to be a league winner is going to be Devontae Adams, and Aaron Rodgers is going to hyper target this guy. So I'm giving out my little tandem here, but yes, Devontae Adams, guys, I won't be surprised if he have another 150-yard game with 12 targets. So if you got
Mhm.
Devontae Adams, you're gonna might have to make some tough decisions. You might have to sit some guys. So let me just give you one. say you the worst guys that you had on your team was T. Higgins and Devontae Adams. I would sit T. Higgins to play Devontae Adams. But I'm only sitting T. Higgins just because it's Devontae Adams. So I'm letting you know Devontae Adams is almost probably a top 5 wide receiver in the fantasy football playoffs.
I agree. Like I said, they're starting to catch fire at the right time. We're starting to see Aaron Rodgers and Tay, like, reminiscent of the Green Bay Packers days. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely agree with that.
Okay, who your flex, bruh? Did you already give your flex?
Yeah. It was
Okay.
drawn for it.
Okay, well, let's get to some of these questions, man. Let's get to some of these questions. I see you, Conscious. I see you, Thomas. I see you, Diesel. I see you, Harambe, Brandon, Tron, Chris Cofit. It's Brody, BK. Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys being here. Rico, Killer, Nino, D-Lion, Ronald. Big Will in the house. Watch your mouth. Okay. So here we go. First thing. All right. Conscious says, I'm up 10 points. Algier to play. Opponent has McCormick and Atlanta DST. Once kickoff happens, Atlanta got their 10 to start. Then it's Algier versus Sincere. Laugh out loud. So I guess he's saying he got Algier and he need Algier to score some points tonight.
I could see that. We've seen it throughout the season.
Right.
It's not necessarily been a 50-50 split, but they're splitting the carries. Bijan gonna get the bulk of the passing work, but Algier could get a couple falling touchdowns. It really just depends. So I like your chances.
Right. Contra says, what a crazy thought if you told me Monday Night Football and these guys were competing for a round 1 playoff victory. Concha says, it's been a fun year, TD. There's weeks I'm nervous and know I'm going to lose, and there's nights like tonight where I feel damn good. Yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about. Always feel good. Always believe in your team. Go down with the ship. And I know you do
That's
that.
it.
Big Will says, down 30 points, and my opponent has Bijan playing tonight. This league has us playing each other for 2 weeks. Okay. So he got a 2-week championship.
Oh, okay. All right. So you got a chance. As long as Bijan don't go bananas.
Right. Let me see. Ronald says, TD, the local legend. Hey, Ronald's from Durham, man.
Oh, that's what's up. Okay.
Yep. Conscious says, Big Mac.
What it do?
Conscious also says, I have Gibbs. If Monty is out, oh man, but I need Algier to produce first. Yeah, Gibbs is the league winner.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
D-Lion said McMillan was the league winner. You think McMillan's the league winner from Tampa Bay?
That's kind of tough. I think he has an opportunity, to get an increase, in volume. But I like those running backs they got. You know what I mean? It could be one of them situations, man, that Rashad White could start getting way more targets. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the target volume could be spread abroad. But I do like McMillan, no doubt.
Right. Especially for next year.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Conscious says TD called Lamar's boom. Yes. I was on Lamar. I've been saying Lamar's going to boom every week. So that I don't want to sit there and take too much credit because I'm going to say that every week.
Yes, sir.
He says TD was strong on Lamar booming too. Not just maybe. TD said MVP was on his mind. I did. I told Mac after I said, Mac, after that Josh Allen game, Derrick Henry owners are in trouble. Did I not say that, Mac?
Yeah, you did. You did.
I said Lamar ain't. I said he ain't handing the ball off to Derrick Henry. It's over for him.
Yeah, he could have had about 6 or 7 yesterday.
Bro, he could have had 8 if they wanted
Yeah.
to, but they didn't want to get crazy. Hey,
Right.
I believe going forward they're gonna get crazy.
They need to,
I
man.
just pray that nobody gets hurt, and I hope not. But Lamar
Mm-hmm.
going crazy, bro. If they up by 30 with 3 minutes to go and they down on the other side of the field, Lamar going to score because Josh Allen is doing it.
Exactly. Yeah, you would think Harbaugh and them would want to do that for Lamar. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right. And it's only gonna make him. I think it's gonna even make him more deadlier going into the playoffs because I think his mindset is what's gonna be win them the championship, the NFL Super Bowl.
Agreed.
Conscious says, I couldn't believe watching Lamar drop to the last pick of the round one. He scored poorly on an outdated testing system. GMs wanted him to play receiver. Laughing my ass off. I've always loved Lamar. Yeah, that was crazy.
Man.
That's telling you, man. Listen, people say, hey, well, TD, don't take things personal that they say in the chat. What if you'd have told Lamar, hey, listen, you need to play wide receiver? He's gonna take that personal, right?
Oh yeah. As he should.
As he should.
Mm-hmm.
That's how athletes are. Rico said, told you Tua suspect. I said what I said. Yeah, man, I didn't hit on Tua, but I'm still going to play Tua when the opportunity presents itself. That's a high octane offense. So I take that one. I was wrong on Tua. But I'm in the playoffs in 70% of my leagues playing Tua, playing Tyreek Hill, playing Waddle. Matt didn't agree with me earlier this year playing Tyreek and Waddle. Well, not this week, but last week it hit. But you didn't
Yep.
say that about Tua then. So this is what I would say. Why 1 week when they have a bad week, they got to be a bad player. But then 1 week when they have a good week, ain't nothing to be said about it. I mean, Matt, go ahead if you want to throw any input to that.
Well, that's how it goes. I see it all the time, man. In the comments and stuff. And listen, I understand it. But at the end of the day, like you said, you give out that smoke. You got to be, you got to be accepting of it too. You know what I mean? You can't
Right,
just talk about the guys, doing bad when he has a bad performance, but
right,
then gloss over what he's done previously. You know what I'm saying?
right,
That's just
right.
yeah, you
And
can't
Will
do that.
Levis has been terrible. I
Yeah.
that's it. But if I tell, oh, he played Will Levis. Like if Aaron Rodgers would have played bad, that's a bad take.
Hmm. Hmm.
But Josh Allen had 7 points, 8 points in week 4.
Hmm.
He's suspect, ain't he?
Yep.
No, he's not. Exactly. He's not suspect. This is Josh Allen.
Right.
Guys are going to have bad games. And so, Rico, I'm not, I'll go down with the tour, but this is what I want to teach y'all. Just because a guy have a bad game don't mean that don't play him no more for the rest of the year.
Hmm.
That's just my 2 cents on that with the tour. Killer Kev says, I'm up by 3. They have Addison, and I have B. John and Justin Jefferson. Would you consider switching Justin Jefferson to Drake London? No.
Hmm. No, ain't no way.
Conscious says Shaq deserved MVP over Nash.
No. I'm a
You
little biased because I'm a Kobe fan, so
right. You didn't believe that Shaq deserved the MVP over Nash that year?
no, I still think it was Kobe.
Okay,
Shaq
Kobe
played
should have won it
well,
that year. Okay.
yeah, but Kobe should have won it, man. It was just Kobe had a ridiculous season, man, that year.
Right. Um. Okay, so D-Lion says before the year, everyone said Allen was only good because of Diggs, right? Right. Mac said that too.
Hmm.
But Diggs gone and Allen is better. Lamar make it or break it MVP game has to be this week against my Steelers. I agree with that because if you beat the Steelers and you have a good game, that's a great defense. That's a great mark on your MVP card.
I want to say something on that real quick. I agree with it to a certain degree, but I'm not. It's the optics. Josh Allen looks better, but no. With Stephon Diggs, if Josh Allen was doing what he's doing now and being more aggressive, running the ball, they would be way better. You're not gonna sit there and tell me that you got an alpha because Stephon Diggs is still an alpha. Anytime you got an alpha wide receiver, That's going to make the quarterback better. It's going to make the team better.
Right.
So I can't really say that. Give Lamar Jackson an alpha and see what we're talking about.
Right.
Give him a Jamar Chase or something like that. Then the MVP running won't even be close.
Right.
It would be ridiculous.
Right. Only thing I will rebuttal with that is I thought, you know how I am about my philosophies on the offensive side of the ball. And when you don't have to hyper target a wide receiver and I can just flow, I believe that's
Mm-hmm.
better for winning games, kind of like Justin Herbert, Josh Allen. They gave the ball to James Cook more this year. Not a lot, but a little bit more. And I think that's the biggest part of this team. I think this team is more physical. They will hit you in the mouth. This ain't a
Mm-hmm.
team where we about to throw it 50 times and try to beat you with Stephon Diggs. That sometimes
Right.
you can game plan against that. But if you can you game plan against James Cook getting 25 carries, or us targeting Keon Coleman downfield, or Josh Allen taking off running for 15 times. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
so many ways that they can beat you now. Back in the day, I was going to take Stephon Diggs away and make him throw to Khalil Shakir and all these guys, and they couldn't do it a year ago. But now this team is better overall. They got a better offensive line. They got a better D line, and I think that's all in mentality. And I think they needed to get rid of Stephon Diggs because he was going to always tell Josh Allen, throw me the damn ball.
Mm-hmm. I just think defenses will have to be more fearful when you got a safety over the top because you can't guard Stephon one on one. You
Right,
know what I'm saying? So
right,
now you got the underneath that's wide open. Josh Allen, we think he's running crazy now. Imagine what he could do when he's got an alpha over there that's dictating coverage on that side. Now you got one less man that can really spy on Josh. You know what I'm saying?
right, right,
That's just
right.
my opinion.
Right. And I see that. I see what you're saying. I think it's all about the nuances of how they doing it. It's not really the just Stephon Diggs is not that good. It's just the nuances of it. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
people flow better with less.
Right.
I want to read this. TG says every player gonna have a bad week. Even Josh Allen did look bad back in early in the part of the season. That's my point. And I feel like it's trolling sometimes when guys want to say a guy has 3 good weeks. Because Tua was the what? Tell me what Tua was, Matt. What was Tua the last 4 weeks that he's been playing? What was he ranked as a quarterback?
The last prior to this last game, I'm
No,
not
just
sure.
all the last 4 weeks, including this week. Well, you can include this week or not include. It doesn't matter. But last
Right.
4 weeks to me, I thought Tua was the top two quarterback in the NFL as far
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
fantasy football.
Absolutely. I mean, but see, that's the thing, man. It's the optics, I think, and the recency bias, and people overlook the numbers and stuff. Maybe because Tyreek ain't getting all this. You know what I'm saying? He was getting a lot of
Right,
underneath stuff. Jono was killing, A Chain was killing, and Tua was a recipient of that because he was dumping it off. So those were still adding to Tua's numbers, but it just
right,
didn't seem like it, optically. You know what I'm saying?
right,
But I agree with you 100%. No, Tua is not a man. Listen, I don't know. I think Tua is a good play. I think he's a good play going forward. If you
right. But
ain't
he's
got
gonna always
nothing,
have bad games.
that's just yeah, that
Tom
happened.
Brady wasn't an elite fantasy football quarterback. Tom Brady had bad fantasy weeks, but
Right,
their team was still winning. So I'm not gonna
agreed.
sit Tom Brady if I have him as my quarterback. I'm not sitting Tua because he's playing against the Houston Texans. I'm not sitting
Hmm.
him now. Next week, if he come up, it just depends on who else I got. And I just want to drill that point in that just because a guy has one bad week, that doesn't make him a bad play. You still have
Hmm.
to continue to play him. If you don't, you're gonna miss the boom weeks.
Agreed.
You have to play, even if sometimes it's a bad matchup. You got to believe in the system. So I just wanted to say
Yeah,
that we can move on. Um, let's see. Harabi says season long MVP is Lamar. Last few weeks, Allen is the MVP. How they finish will determine, in my opinion. They both have great. Uh, they both are great.
I agree. I mean, again, I might be a little biased. You know what I'm saying? Because TD can tell you, man, I'm probably one of the biggest Lamar Jackson fans outside his mama. You know what I mean? I've been a Lamar fan back since when he played in Louisville, but I got personal ties when it comes to that. So I saw firsthand what Lamar was even before he came into the draft and knew what he could be. So maybe I'm a little biased when it comes to that. I'm not taking nothing away from Josh Allen by no means,
Right.
but the
Right.
numbers don't dictate that it's a runaway right now.
Right.
Like everybody on ESPN is saying.
Right. Um, Harami says, I agree with D Lion. This week for Lamar is massive against a coach that can stop him to an extent. Watt got hurt though, and they are in Baltimore. Rico Smith says, I got Lamar, but his stats versus Pittsburgh be womp womp. Rico, you seem like a glass half empty guy. Yes, it's a tough thing, but that 1 week is not that one. Even if Lamar only goes out and score 15 points, you still can win that week. I don't
Exactly.
let one. I mean, and I try to teach y'all, man, because a lot of people was upset about what was that game that happened on Thursday? They was upset about Garendo, Brock Purdy. I'm like, man,
In the
nobody
Rams.
caring about that. That was the right start. Matt was
Yeah.
not starting Brock Purdy and Garendo and Juwan Jennings and George Kittle. That was the right move, right?
That's the right move. You had to make those moves.
Right.
Some sometimes that happens. You can make the right decisions and the proper moves in your lineup, but it just don't pan out. That's just
Facts.
how it goes.
Facts. Let's see. I thought of playing Aaron over Love. I said it here. I think. Yeah, I think you said something like that, Conscious. Harami says, guys, hit double tap the screen. Let's give these guys some likes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Harambe says, Matt, question for you. Do you trust Najee Harris this week going against the versus the Ravens?
So my thought on that is it depends. If George Pickens plays, I like Najee a lot better. And the reason being because one, the offense is going to move a lot better. They're going to be a lot smoother. You know what I'm saying? And Najee is going to get the opportunities in the red zone. And plus, TD knows this. I always said I'm a Steelers fan. I've been a Steelers fan since 1983, so I follow them closely. I wasn't a huge fan of them getting Najee anyway. Not saying he's not a good running back, but I think they should have kept James Conner number one, and they should have used that first round pick to go get offensive lineman. But that's neither here nor there. But going to your question, I think he's got an opportunity. I like Najee better if George Pickens plays this week. If he
Right.
doesn't, I think you can probably go elsewhere because I just don't like that offense without George. To
Right.
be honest.
Right. Um, he says, I'm worried to be honest. I might pivot to Tyrone Tracy.
Yeah, I would. I play Tracy over him if George doesn't play.
This goes to my point, what I was saying earlier, guys. I'm going with Najee. The Giants' offense is depleted. And I like Tracy, but I can't put him over Najee. I'm playing Najee because he's the starting running back. It might be a bad matchup, but guess what? I would say Kyle Hamilton can slip and fall, and Najee go around the corner and get a touchdown. Now he's sitting around with 11, 12 points, and he got 2 or 3 catches, 40 yards, and a TD. Now he's a fringe, borderline top 24 running back. So I don't want to. I just want. I don't care about the matchups. I want to play a guy who's going to get the carries and the opportunities. I believe opportunity, and you can put this in real life. The opportunity is bigger than a talent. If you get an opportunity, like right now, Matt, they can give you 20 carries. You're gonna get a fall in touchdown with probably about 20 yards
Oh yeah, definitely.
because you get an opportunity. So
Right.
I like Najee Harris because of the opportunities that he got. And I'm willing to lose and pack it home if Najee goes out and bums it. But if I play Tyrone Tracy over Najee and Najee plays good, I'm gonna be sick.
The
At
only
the end of the
caveat I think the only caveat I would say with that outside of the whole George Pickens thing I was saying is the Jalen Warren factor. Jalen Warren is getting a lot more touches, especially now with George being out. So they're using Jalen Warren, Pat Fairmouth in this offense. That's the only thing that worries me. But I agree with you saying. I mean, and I what you're saying, I see it happening, or it could happen. But Jalen Warren is one of those guys I think that he could take away from Najee, where Tyrone Tracy really don't. We ain't worried about motor. He's not factored in. Devin Singletary is not being factored in like he was. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right,
that's just my opinion on why I would take
right.
Tracy over him.
Conjure says Kyler Murray bet the unders on MHJ. I'm calling it. It's Brody says, yo, you think I'm gonna be all right? I ended up with 148 points and my opponent has 116, but they still have Justin Jefferson and DJ Moore left to play. Hey, it ain't over for them. It's probably gonna go and be a tight game.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tight one.
BK says Tracy ain't perfect either. They be putting in Singletary in red zone situations. They do. They do. Singletary had a touchdown last week. I mean, this week. Crisco Fit says Chase Brown is a league winner. Yes, he is. I didn't want it to be that obvious, but Chase Brown is a league winner. Yes, he's smashing it. What's up, John? Tron says Terry McLaurin could have. We did that one already. B Silver said you were so right on point with Aaron Rodgers and Strange. I lost with Winston and eliminated for sure. It's all good. But guess what? I'm not getting on you. You know why? Because you went down with your ship. And I'm gonna tell you why I know you went down with your ship. You willing to admit it in front of me. So I ain't got nothing to say. It's these other people that come in here and they don't tell me who they picked. They don't always pick. Because sometimes I'm not right, but it's all about going down with the ship, with the guys. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. So y'all want me to go and pick Tyrone Tracy and tell you to play him over CMC and hit on that. I'm telling you to play CMC every single time. I don't care what Tyrone Tracy is doing, long as CMC is CMC. Like Derrick Henry, I don't think Derrick Henry's going to have a good playoff run, but I'm never going to tell anybody to sit him. I'm not even going to tell you to play Isaac Garendo over Derrick Henry. You have to. I feel like when you lose, you got to lose with guys that can give you the boom. Matt, do you want to rebuttal that? I know sometimes you might go and bench everybody and go to the guy who's hot.
Yeah. That's. I was giving you a space, but that's me. There's a different philosophy. It's not always skin a cat. Me personally, I I treat them just like I would if I was a coach and I'm out here playing in real life. Hey, if you don't step up and play and the other guy's playing well,
Right,
yo, you going to the bench. You know what I'm saying? Because I
right,
believe in trying to get that lightning in the bottle, especially if it's been a situation where a player has shown you over a course of a couple of games where you got a trend, right? I ain't just
right,
gonna sit Derrick Henry for a guy who just had a good game. If somebody's been in a upward trend, then I'll play him over a guy who maybe has a bad matchup or something of that nature, or
right,
to a situation like Derrick Henry right now. You know, Lamar's going to take a lot of that work. You know what I mean? Hell, some people might even be worried about Saquon because of Jalen Hurts. Saquon's not. If Saquon don't get it between the numbers and get the touches through passing, he's not getting that work in the goal line. They're gonna
right,
push, and so
right. I wouldn't. Saquon could go for 3 points next game. I'm still gonna play him in my championship game. That's just the way I see it. But what you saying is not always to skin that cat. You just got to be accurate when you do it.
yes.
Um, let me see. Harami says Marvin Harrison Jr. ain't fighting for the ball, otherwise his numbers would be better. One of the most volatile players of the fantasy season.
Uh, So I want to my response on that, and TD know we've talked about this. I'm a huge Marvin Harrison fan. I was a huge Marvin Harris fan going into the season. I thought his ADP was warranted. I think it's more of the offense and Kyler. Really Kyler more than anything. Because if you go back and look, what was it, week two? Or after week one, when he admitted in the press conference, he was like, and I'm just paraphrasing, he was like, man, I ain't getting this dude the ball just because, you know what I'm saying? Everybody wants me to get him the ball. Well, that's why you pick him in the top, what, 3 or 4? You got to get
Number
this
two.
man to rock. Number 2, exactly. That is crazy to me. Why they don't target this guy 12, 13 times a game. I just don't understand the logic in that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It
Right.
makes no sense. And I think what it is because of Kyler, number one, the inefficiency. He knows that he's not a very accurate thrower of the football. He did well with D Hop, but D Hop is one of the greatest 50-50 guys ever. I could
Right.
throw it in D Hop's direction. He coming down with the rock. So Kyler's not that type of quarterback that's going to dot between um, corners and hit his man in the numbers. He's just not that type of guy.
Right.
And I think that's where the issue is. But I don't think, me personally, I don't think it's Marvin Harrison's fault. I think Marvin's doing everything that he's supposed to do. He's one of the best route runners in the game right now.
Right. Brandon says, "What up, TD? What?" He says, "What up, YouTube?" He says, "What up, guest host? Sorry, I'm late to the show. How y'all feeling about Hollywood? I think he's a great stash. You got to stash him
Yeah, definitely.
just to see
Definitely.
what's going to happen. He might play that week 17 or something, but if not, you good. Just stash him."
Yeah, I agree with that.
Brandon says, "They using Brock Bowers as a slot wide receiver, then a tight end."
That's facts. They use him as a weapon all over the place.
Right.
I agree.
Got a super chat from Thomas. Appreciate you, Thomas. Thomas says PPR do or die. I'm up 8 and I have McCormick versus Jacoby Myers and Aaron Jones. Would you swap McCormick for Trey Tucker? I might need upside or just stick it out. I would stay with McCormick.
Yeah, I agree. Tucker's too volatile.
Right. Appreciate that, Thomas. Let me see. I want to get to the questions, more of the questions predicted, because we get ready to get out of here. I predicted. Kanye says I predicted Adams to Buffalo though. Okay, we said that. Thomas says, "What up, bro? Man, I got 2 playoff matchups depending on tonight's game." Uh, Diesel 80 says, "Any chance the Bears can beat the Vikes?" It's always a chance, but I'm going with the Vikes.
Yeah, yeah, they loaded, man. The Vikings are, and they're playing great right now, especially Jordan Addison.
Big Will says, "What up with Deontay, bro? Is it because of too many weapons or other options on the team?" Well, this is what it is.
Hmm.
Deontay, when he came to the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar didn't take him under his wing, and then he complained about Lamar throwing him the ball one game, and everybody know you don't do that. And Lamar pushed his ass on the outside, so he said he don't give a damn. So he just started doing what the hell he wanted to do because he didn't feel part of the group, and that's just me guessing. Because you got to understand that he come there. He of course he's gonna be excited to play with Lamar, but if you complain and talk shit to Lamar, he's just gonna outside you. So I don't think he has nothing to do with Deontay. Because if he needed Deontay, he wouldn't have got suspended. If Lamar said don't suspend him, they wouldn't have suspended him, right, Matt?
I agree. The only thing I was going to add to that, me being a Steeler fan, I can kind of give a little inside scoop on what I hear from, beat writers and stuff like that.
Okay,
Deontay is a head case, man. He's a head case, and we're good, meaning the Steeler organization and coaching staff has been very good for years keeping stuff in house, right?
right,
Problem childs. 9 times out of 10, when you see a receiver or a player leave, 9 times out of 10 is receivers. Anytime you see them leave from us and they go somewhere else, all that stuff comes out. We've seen it with Antonio Brown. Montavious Bryant has some flare ups here and there. Now Deontay Johnson. We saw him back when he was at Pittsburgh and how he would half-heartedly block and do all this kind of stuff. He was in all that mix with Claypool and Juju. You know what I mean? I just think he's got some issues going on, man. He's a great talent. Don't get me wrong. He's a very exceptional talent. But if he was that good, Carolina wouldn't have let him go. So it's something else involved mentally, in my opinion, the reason why he's bouncing around the way he is.
interesting. Let me see. God, honest truth. Appreciate you being here. He says, "What's good, fellas? I'm in a 14 league and in a position to lose week 15, which will make me a 3-game L streak. My mistake for not playing my starters. Gotta go hard as heck these next 3 weeks. Yes, sir. That's why I'm telling you about playing your studs. Listen, guys. I'm not saying my way is the most optimal way, but all I can do is tell you what I'm going to do and show you my stats. I may not speak the right rhetoric for you to say, "Oh, okay, this makes sense." All I can do is tell you, "Look, I'm playing Amara. I put him in my lineup. That's it." So it's not always to skin a cat. You can play fantasy football many different ways. I would never say the way that I tell people to play is the only way, but I do think going in the future with hybrids and quarterbacks, that is going to be the way. Drafting quarterbacks early. Um, Also stashing a lot of running backs on your team because there's going to be a lot of them that's going to go down and rotate through the starting lineup. Daniel Berry Sports Highlight. Appreciate you being. He said, "What's up, everyone?" Thomas said, "Okay, we did that one already." Let me see here. Zach Seaman says, "Need to get 55 points combined from Aaron Jones, DJ Moore, and Falcons defense tonight. That's going to be tough."
Yeah.
Ethan Carey says, "Next week, should I start Jerome Ford or Gus Edwards?" I'm going to go ahead and tell you Jerome Ford.
Yeah.
Unless
All
you
day
got
long.
some superstars. He said also next week, should he go Mark Andrews or Hunter Henry? I would say Mark Andrews.
Yeah, definitely. Mark's gonna get some looks because that middle is gonna be open. I even like Zay this week.
Right.
So yeah.
Rico says, "I'm going with matchups only." Nothing wrong with that, bro. Ethan says, "Y'all saw Heisman, Travis Hunter, cool. Um, I love Colorado, but I think Genty should one because Travis ain't even a top 3 receiver or top 5 corner, and Genty going to be like a new LaDainian Thomas. I think he is a top 5 corner. I think they just weren't throwing him the ball, throwing at him. I only saw like 2 completions on him the whole season. I didn't watch every single game, but I watched like 70-80% of the games. God Honest Truth says, "I got a question. So if I lose week 15 and then go into week 16 and win, which team advances?" I got a question. So if I lose week 15 and then go into week 16 and win, which team advances? I don't know about that question. That's a different type of fantasy league.
Yeah, I would say check your settings, your league settings, and see if they have something like that. 9 times out of 10, most time when you lose in the playoffs, you're eliminated. But again, it could be one of those special situations. I don't know. I'd be afraid to answer that myself.
Right. TZ says every player going to have a bad week. Even Josh Allen did look back in the early part of the season. Right. Um, he said TZ says Cooper Cup and Stafford too. Yeah. So this is what I don't know if TZ is talking about me telling people to start them, but Matthew Stafford and Cooper Cup was a great start. You got to start those guys. Guys, let me tell you
Yeah.
something. And I don't think you saying this TZ, but if I find out that y'all are going off for a weather game and you are that frivolous where they have a terrible rain game and nobody plays good, and you say that's a bad start. Come on, guys. Y'all been playing fantasy for years. I hope that's not what you're saying, TZ. How do you feel about that game, Matt?
Yeah, that was an ugly game. Um, you and that happens. We've seen it happen multiple times. It could be situations where on paper it looks like it's going to be like just excellent for fantasy. But for whatever reason, whether it's weather or players getting injured, you know
Right.
what I mean, game flow, it's a lot of situations. But at the end of the day, the start is the start. When you
Right.
make that decision, meaning going to this particular question, Stafford and Cup was the right choices, unless you
Hell
had
yeah.
somebody, you know what I'm saying. So that's
Right.
yeah, you
That's
just
just the
gotta
way
you
I play.
gotta
That's just the way I play fantasy.
yeah
TZ says, okay, he's super chat. Appreciate the super chat, TZ. He said, this is for everyone. This show is to God, not predicting the future. Right. At the end of the day, you got to make a grown decision and live with it. And I'm not going to chastise you for making a grown decision and living with it, because that would make me disingenuous.
yeah. That's a
Long now, if
perfect
you start
statement.
being like, I don't know what to do, I don't like that type of attitude. I think you should now not asking me for advice, but being being volatile with your starts and sits. You should be starting. I've been telling people to start Brian Thomas Jr. all year long. I started him almost every single game that I had him, except for the first week. So you that's the only way that you're going to catch a Brian Thomas boom game early in the season and have him on your team. You got to have that type of mentality. You can't be lukewarm. Have one week you want to play him, the next week you don't. The next week you want to drop him. So just make your decision and live with it. Nobody's going to be perfect, guys. I teach that a lot to y'all guys, because we all going to miss. But as long as you got your stars in there, who cares? Ain't nobody trying to play be God and guess that the rain is going to come and Matthew Stafford
Hmm.
is going to be the ball's going to be slipping out of his hand. Let's see. Couple more questions. Perfect Black said, "Bigs up the titty. I won this week. On to the next." Yes, sir. Thomas said, "I wanted to flex Strange over DK yesterday so bad. Had I did, I'd be winning my matchup."
Right.
That's armchair, bro. It's all good. Sports Dog, what's up, bro? He says TD100 week 15 did not like me at all. All of my weeks to tank. Why this week? I was down over 100 points before 3 o'clock game started, but I still have a chance to take third and get a few bucks. That's all that matters, bro. Just keep fighting. Me and Matt talk about that at work all the time. Hey, we ain't gonna give up.
Hmm.
We're gonna keep fighting.
That's it.
TG said, "Yeah, if your studs don't perform, your team wets the bed, then you got to draft better next year because your team was relying on the studs too much." Right. And usually I'm going to rely on my studs. I'm going to front load my teams. That's just how I draft. Matt usually draft a really deep team, and he'll sit anybody. He'll sit Alvin
Yeah.
Kamara. He'll, I don't know. I don't know if he. I don't want to be capping. Will you sit Lamar?
Nah. Oh, but
You
so
might
well,
sit him.
okay.
Just
Hold on.
depends on
Yeah,
what's
I
going
might.
on.
Yeah, it depends. Because I mean, let's just think of an example. Let's say a situation happened where I drafted Jaden Daniels in the late round, and Jaden was playing a better team, and Lamar was nicked up. Let's just say
Mm,
that. That's going to be the only situation where if Lamar is not 100%, I might play Jaden Daniels in a great matchup over
right.
Lamar. That's
Facts.
the only, and that's
Right.
very
Right.
minuscule.
Right. I like the context you lose because that makes sense. I will too if it makes sense like that. If it goes with it,
Hmm.
right? Because I wasn't gonna
Yeah.
sit. I wasn't gonna sit no Lamar for no Aaron Rodgers, but
Oh,
it's got to
nah.
make sense. But if Lamar was nicked up with a bad
Yes.
ankle, I could maybe make that type of decision. Right. Facts.
Right.
Ronald says, "Who do y'all score? Who do y'all scores more fantasy points tonight? Addison or B. John Robinson?" I'm going with the running back, but I love Addison. I'm going with B. John Robinson.
Yeah, I think Bijan is a safer. He has a safer floor. Addison is the boom guy. It depends on the flow of the game, because Donald's been getting more comfortable with using him, so he
Right.
could end up with 2 touchdowns, right?
Right.
But if I had to put money on it, I'm going with Bijan.
Right. King of Nike says, "If I make it to round two, Tyreek Hill would not see my lineup. McDaniel probably will get fired." I respect that, brother. I have nothing to say about that. I can't chastise you about that. But I would say, King of Nike, if he has a good game, I want to see your breakdown because I think you gotta go down with the ship with that. Because if you next week you be like, you know what? Well, I'm gonna actually play him because he went for 40 points. It's different. Something. That's what sports is. One week you come
Mm-hmm.
out here have a terrible game. Next week you have a big game. So I'm only playing
Yep.
Tyreek Hill because he's getting 8 to 10 targets a game, and it's Miami. That's the main reason. But you're right. Tyreek hasn't played great this year. That was one of my misses this week. I mean, this year and this week. But I'm still drafting him next year, depending on if Mike McDaniels is still there. And I'm pretty sure Mike. I don't think they're gonna fire Mike.
No, but me and you talked about this before. I've questioned a lot of what Mike has done in the past few weeks. More so because of Devon A. Chain,
Right.
right? The way
Right.
they've been using him. You don't run this guy up the gut like he is a 250-pound running back.
Right.
Early in the season, when they were getting him out in space, throwing little dump off passes, wheel routes, and line him in the slot, that's how you use Devon A. Chain.
Right.
Because even though Tyreek is not getting the attention like he has been, or excuse me, I ain't gonna say attention because he's always gonna get the attention. As long as Tyreek is on that field and he's breathing, it's gonna be a safety over the top. You cannot not have that. You feel me?
Right. Facts.
So yeah, but long story short, man, I don't think they'll fire Mike, but he can't have another. They can't have another bad season next year, and if everybody's healthy, then it might come to they might question it then.
Right. Aaron Holloway says, "Hey, TD, McCormick or Swift?" I'm going with McCormick.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Harambe says, "We think Tyreek going to donkey the bed this week." Um, I really the way my teams are set up, bro. I don't. I gotta play him even if he donkey in the bed.
Exactly.
I gotta play him. I don't have the team where I can sit Tyreek. And if it ain't Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson or Amon-Ra, I'm not gonna play. I'm not gonna play Tim Patrick over Tyreek Hill. I can't do it. I'm not saying that y'all wrong for doing it. I'm just not gonna do it. Let's see. King of Nike said that's why I think they will move on from him because of the talent on the team. If they move on from somebody about to get a great offensive coordinator. Somebody gonna get a
Right.
great offensive coordinator. So I think that's it, Matt, right now, because my phone, man, I got this new mic and it drains the battery on my phone. And also I don't want to go super long because nobody watched the super long lives anyway. So anything you want to say, bro, before we get out of here?
Hey man, just I appreciate you having me on the show, bro. It's always a pleasure, and I appreciate all the comments and questions that everybody have. And hey, just good luck to everybody.
Yes, sir. All right, guys, y'all be safe. I'll see y'all later. Peace.